Hello and welcome back to Farmertorque. Chat, of course, this time about the French MotoGP race. We're here on a pretty breezy day, it has to be said, here at the farm, but it's sunny, and I think we'll get into the woods and hide from the wind, and we'll chat about the juicy bits, and I'll tell you what I think. Well, we're in the wood. It's still freaking breezy. The wind's really getting up, and but let's see what we can do. But here you go. A few bluebells. Nothing to do with the MotoGP race, but they look quite nice, don't they? So, right, race. Okay, the race. Well, it was dry, but rain threatened, and it was declared a flag-to-flag race. So that means that the riders can come in and the race won't stop. So they either stay out on their slicks or come in for wet tyres. Yeah, that's their choice. So, but the race, off they went, and Quartararo, Vinales and Miller went off at just a fair pace. And those three pulled away and were looking good. And Quartararo has topped so many sessions this year. And Vinales, when his head's in the right place, is quick. And they look jolly good. And you just thought, this is the thing. Marquez, I think he was up to fifth and looking okay. And so, yeah, off we went. And then it rained. And the rain was when it started to kick off. The first thing I noticed was that Marquez came alive. He suddenly, you could just see it like a switch. And of course, he's loved these conditions in the past. And he suddenly, wow. So hey, Hugo's running around here. If you can, there he goes. Yeah, and so there's this decision, when do we come in? Which was actually fairly easy. They stayed out for one lap and then started a second lap, but then it really rained. And it was all a bit tiptoey and this and that. And Marquez, you could see, he said, right, I'm going to have you here. And indeed, just before the last bend, Miller, who went off into the gravel. And anyway, so they're all coming in to change their bikes, and it's pandemonium. History shows those, I've watched MotoGP for so long, and these flag-to-flag races, there are good and bad riders in this. Rossi, for instance, was always hopeless at flag-to-flag, never got the timing right, etc. The king is Marquez. And here again, it was like somebody had switched a light on. And so he comes out, and he's coming out after in the lead. In the meantime, though, going off into the gravel, Jack Miller, who was looking good, oh dear, in a bit of a panic, flew into the pit lane where the gendarmes were waiting with their speed guns. And and so, yeah, came into the pits too fast. Should have been 60k and was 75, so fair cop. And he was handed two long lap penalties, which is, oh no. So that's the end of Jack. Vinales lost his handbag strap, broke or something, because there was, I don't know what was going on. He just got in a right flap in the pit stop. Okay. Right, coming out of the pits then, this is the wet race really. They just changed their bikes, and so Marquez in the lead. Quartararo a bit behind. Sorry for my notes, but there's so much happened in this race. So then we've got Rins, he was in third, Miller fourth, unbeknown to him that he was going to get the penalty. So yeah, that's right. And then Taka Nagayami in fifth. So let the racing begin. And wow, Mark is back to his best, and he's out. He pulls a 2-second lead straight away. But not before Rins crashes. There are plenty who think he's a world champion, but does he not crash too much? I think this is his third race crash, and anyway, so he's gone. Mark just looks. He's back to his best. And in the past, pre-injury, go back a year, Marquez in the lead, never lost it, basically. And so that's what he done. Until he went off. Came in and on the hairpin, the last tight bend up onto the main straight past the pits there, he high-sided a nasty little crash, thripped over high side, and that was that. Well, no, that wasn't that. He pulled the bike up and he got going again, and we'll see what happened a bit later. But that left us then with Quartararo looking good and Miller chasing after him, Taka Nakagami in third, which is a pretty strong showing, Zarco a distant fourth. Now, I mean, there was enough happened already. So what was happening then? Well, Miller looked quick, and hold on, he can catch Quartararo. But he's suddenly then, that's when it was announced, a couple of laps later, 2 long lap penalties. And so surely that would finish him off. He took those on subsequent laps, I think. Okay, yes, he lost ground, but he was so quick, and there was something like, I don't know, 17 laps to go or so, a long way to go. And hold on, we got a race here. And boy, did we have a race. So Miller is flying, basically. And he's after Quartararo. You're kidding me. And let's just come back here a minute. At this point, we're halfway through the race. I've forgotten so much has happened in this race. And it was edge of seat stuff. And this was, you know, when you talk about it afterwards and if you know who won and you go, oh, yeah. At the time, this was, I mean, real stuff. At this point, the track was pretty wet, but it had stopped raining. So Miller after Quartararo, and then Taka a third, which would be an incredible result for him on the Honda. But all of a sudden, somebody, hold on, Zarco is the quickest guy on the track. What? And then a few more laps, and you're watching. Zarco's taking 2 seconds a lap out of them. I mean, what's going to happen now? Well, the answer soon became clear, because Zarco caught Taka and was into third place. Blimey. So now we've got Miller, Quartararo, and Miller you'd think is going to win. But Zarco, just a minute, if he carries on like that, he's going to win. So we've changed again. This, blimey, was incredible. But there's Quartararo. In the pit stops, Quartararo came in and pulled into Vignale's pit. Had to run over to his bike. And for that pleasure, he was given a long lap penalty. So that sorted Quartararo out. But he'd spent anyway, if you see what I mean. Jack Miller had got the measure of Quartararo, so that wasn't the case. But could Zarco win? Could he catch Miller? And that was how it went. And the last few laps, I say few laps, oh, this would have been 7, 8 laps. And looking at the times, you'd think, yeah, this is on. But Jack and we was talking after the race, and apparently he had a traction control setting. He was using traction control, and how he described it was that when the gap got down to about 3 seconds, and we're thinking, blimey, you know, Zarco's going to win, first French winner since Fred Flintstone, basically. I don't know whether Fred Flintstone ever won the French Grand Prix, but I'll check that one out later. As soon as the gap got down to that, Jack released the hounds and switched off, as he says, switched off traction control, and then just rode the bike, span up the rear tyre, which of course would destroy it, but worked out that he had enough laps left. Could then match Zarco's pace, and that was the result. And on the podium, it was happy smiles, really. Jack was deliriously happy. Back-to-back wins. Wow. Now, you know, that's a good result. Zarco in second place was ecstatic. couldn't expect more. And even Quartararo was pretty jolly happy. And considering everything that happened, arm pump in the last race, etc., to be on the podium, well, happy days. Mark, oh dear Mark. He got, after the first off, he got back on the bike and chased along and was doing okay, but then went off again. And this time just walked away. And so that was that. Yeah, what a race. All sorts of problems for the others. Both Suzuki's down, KTM's as well. The Aprilias, both Aprilias had a really weird technical, I don't know what went wrong, but both Aprilias went wrong. And I think on the same bit of track, which is really weird. Well, so what do we think of the French Grand Prix? One, it was jolly exciting. Is a MotoGP ever not? Miller, strong result, etc. Yeah, jolly good. Marquez should have won it, shouldn't he? And I don't know what's up there. Obviously I do. I mean, he's injured, he was out, and could he come back, and how quick is he and not? But it just doesn't. At times in this race you thought it was the Marquez of old, but the Marquez of old never lost a lead like that. Well, I can't remember him doing so. And just once in the lead, and you'd thought, there's just something about Mark that doesn't look right, whether he's trying too hard or whatever, don't know. Anyway, I should mention Bagnaia, fourth. And I haven't mentioned him, but during the race, I mean, he was, to start with, 19th, 20th, and got the long lap penalty as well, because he was caught. But to come up to fourth, and there's, not many people, people know Miller, Vinales, Marquez, etc. Who's Bagnaia? Well, he's the young lad on the other factory Ducati, and he's flipping quick. And in the championship at the moment, I think Quartararo's taken the lead just from, guess who, Bagnaia. And I think Miller's fourth. I think he's how many points behind? 15, 17 points behind. So overall in the championship, where's it looking? Well, it looks as though Quartararo's got over his arm pump problems, doesn't it? So, yeah, and he's riding really well. Miller, is he going to... We're off to Mugello, aren't we? What a track that is. I look forward to that. I wish I was going there, to be honest. Just amazing track. So we look forward to that. And Miller, Ducatis are going to fancy that with that long straight there. And so Miller will. But I think... watch this space. I think Bagnaia is the faster of the two riders. Obviously not so much experience and all that, but dark horse. Well, not dark horse. Well, maybe dark horse. Maybe a horse of a different colour, maybe. Or a young lad on a Ducati who's jolly quick. So there you go. My thoughts on French GP. Blooming good. McPhee in Moto3 got some points again. That's good. Poor old Sam Lowes went down in Moto2, so that's not so good. But overall, really exciting race. Put Mugello, I think it's in 10 days' time now, in your diary. That's going to be a cracker. It never ceases, never fails, and MotoGP doesn't anyway. So tomorrow is qualifying for Monaco, good old Formula One. Now the race is always, why did I watch that? But the whole Monaco thing is a bit of a fairy tale, isn't it? And so it's exciting and well worth watching. McLaren have got this new, looks pretty good in the pictures, retro colour scheme. I'm afraid you're going to have to put up with every commentator asking Max and Lewis, can you win, etc., etc. Sooner or later, Max and Lewis are going to tangle, and then there'll be handbags and fisticuffs and all sorts of controversies. So I think that'll be worth watching. Have fun, and we'll catch up next week. Bye for now.